You may have seen the commercial on TV, the one where the safety aspects of daytime running lights are covered. Well, even if you haven't seen it, you have undoubtedly noticed the wealth of safety features being incorporated in GMC trucks. Features like anti-lock brake systems and supplemental inflatable restraint airbags, while not required by law, are being incorporated. For 1996, daytime running lights, DRL, are also being added to the list. Some of you technicians may already be familiar with the DRLs since they have been required on Canadian vehicles for the past few years, or because they were an option on all new 95 GMC trucks, except those equipped with keyless remote entry. If you are familiar with the DRL and have an occasion to work on a DRL problem, you know some of the electrical service manuals have some apparent mistakes. This PPN video release and reference manual are going to cover the DRL and diagnosis of the system. For those technicians who haven't had a chance to work with the DRL, this PPN release should help you to understand how they work and how to diagnose problems you may encounter in the future. First, some basics. The DRL shouldn't affect the normal operation of the headlights, tail lights, or any other lighting system. The DRL operation is automatic almost any time the ignition switch is in the run, bulb test, or crank position. The exceptions are when the parking brake is applied or when the headlight switch has the headlights on. That first exception, the parking brake, is helpful to the technicians. If you're going to be doing extensive diagnostic testing, which requires the ignition to be on, the parking brake can be applied to turn off the DRL so the battery doesn't run down. You may have noticed the daytime running lights are not as bright as the regular headlights. For 95 vehicles, it was because the headlights were in series, with power being applied to the left headlight ground and ground being provided by the right headlight ground. For 96 vehicles, the system has been changed, and now the headlights have normal grounds. The lower intensity of the DRL is obtained by including voltage-reducing diodes in the daytime running light's power supply circuit. Here's how the system works. When the key is turned on, power from the gauges fuse goes to the control side of the daytime running light's relay. The ground side of the relay control goes to the daytime running light's module. If the park brake is not applied and the headlights are not turned on, the module provides the ground for the relay. When the relay is grounded, it activates, and power from the DRL and fog 20-amp fuse can pass through the voltage-reducing diodes and the power side of the relay to the headlamp low-beam feed circuit. That causes the low beams to come on, but at a lower intensity due to the lower voltage. The low beams are used for daytime running lights on 96 models with either the standard 2-headlight setup or the quad 4-headlight option. This is different from the 95 trucks, which used the high beams of the quad headlights for daytime running lights. For 1995, there are two manuals: the early release manual, which has an inaccurate diagram, and the revised manual, which has the correct diagram. Some of the preliminary 1996 manuals have inaccurate diagrams as well. How can you tell if you have a good one? Look at the daytime running lights indicator lamp. If there's a light green with black striped wire, circuit 592, running to one side of the lamp, and a black wire, circuit 150, going to the other side, the diagram is not correct. However, if there's a pink wire, circuit 39, in place of the black wire, circuit 150, the diagram is correct. These wire colors and circuit numbers apply to all 1995 GMC truck models. But let's take a more detailed look at the 96 system. First, the components. There are the normal fused power feeds, a DRL module, a DRL indicator lamp, a pair of voltage-dropping diodes, a DRL relay, a parking brake input to the DRL module, the regular headlight switch, which provides input to the DRL module and power to the dimmer switch, the headlights, and finally the high beam indicator. During normal headlight low beam operation, power from the headlight switch goes to the DRL module, providing a signal to the module that the headlights are turned on. That signal prevents the grounding of the relay, and the relay is not activated. After the headlight switch power provides the signal to the module, it goes to the dimmer switch, and then to the DRL relay. Since it's not activated, the internal contacts allow full power to go to the headlights. They will be at full intensity. If the dimmer switch is in the high beam position, the power from the headlight switch goes to the DRL module to provide the on signal, then to the dimmer switch, and directly to the high beams. If the headlight switch is not on or is in the parking lights position, no signal is provided to the DRL module, and it will ground the control side of the DRL relay. As was briefly covered earlier, if the DRL relay is activated, power from the DRL fog fuse goes through the diodes and the other relay internal contact to the headlights at a reduced voltage for daytime running lights. When the module provided the ground for the DRL relay, it also provided a ground for the DRL dash indicator lamp to notify the driver that the daytime running lights are on. There is one other input to the DRL module which has already been mentioned. It is a ground signal from the parking brake. If the parking brake is applied, the ground signal will prevent the module from grounding and activating the relay, and the daytime running lights will not be on. While all GMC truck models use this basic DRL system, there are some minor differences. If the truck has fog lamps, there is a fog lamp input to the DRL module. Be sure you have the correct model manual and the correct diagram. Troubleshooting the DRL isn't terribly complicated, but there are some things which should be checked before getting into the diagnostic charts. These include the fuses, the parking brake, and the headlight low beams. The fuse check needs no further explanation. The parking brake switch will cause the DRL to not function. Remember, applying the park brake is the easy way to keep the DRL from running the battery down if other diagnostic tests require the key to be left in the on position for an extended period of time. The reason for checking the low beams is because if the truck has 4 headlights, the low beam lights are the running lights. If there's a problem in the low beam circuit, the DRL will not work. If there are no low beams, the headlight circuit diagnosis should be performed before the DRL diagnosis. Now, before we get into the DRL diagnosis, I should cover the module and relay locations for the various GMC truck models. Here is what the DRL module and relay look like. As you can see, the module is an edge board connected printed circuit and is housed in a gray plastic housing which is not much bigger than the board. It is simply taped in as part of the wiring harness in most applications. The relay is usually in the convenience center, but not always. For example, the 95 and 96 S and T trucks have the relay in the relay center behind the glove box. The module is taped to a wiring harness under the left side of the instrument panel, about 3 inches inboard of the fuse block and headlight switch. In the C and K trucks, the relay is in the convenience center under the left side of the instrument panel wiring harness, just inboard of the convenience center. The 95G van has the relay taped to the instrument panel wiring harness near the steering column support bracket. The module is taped to the radio wiring harness, and access is easier if the radio is removed. However, on the 96 Savannah, the module is taped to the instrument panel wiring harness behind the knee bolster on the left-hand side of the steering column. Also located behind the knee bolster is a relay bracket. The DRL relay is just one of the 35 relays in the bracket. Refer to your service manual for the exact location of the DRL relay. In the M and L vans, the relay is under the hood to the driver's side of the brake booster. The DRL module is taped to the headlight wiring harness near the headlight switch. With the component locations covered, let's get into some actual diagnosis situations. This truck came in with the complaint that the daytime running lights don't come on, but the dash indicator lamp does. To verify the complaint, the key is turned on, and the parking brake is checked to make sure it's released. And no running lights. But the dash indicator lamp is on. Since the dash lamp is on, there must be power getting through the gauge's 10-amp fuse. But it's double-checked along with the DRL fog lamp 20-amp fuse. They're okay. The first check in the diagnostic chart asks if the brake light stays on when the key is on. The reason for the brake light check is because the brake pressure warning switch and the ABS provide a ground to turn on the dash brake indicator lamp, just like the park brake switch does. There is a diode that should prevent the ground signal from getting to the DRL module. But if the diode was bad and either the ABS or the pressure switch provided a ground, the running lights would not work. However, the brake indicator lamp does a bulb check and goes out. The next test is for power to the DRL module. For demonstration purposes only, we removed the lower dash. And after locating the DRL module, in this case it's taped to the instrument panel harness, the module is removed. After grounding a test light and turning the key to on, probe cavity C of the wiring connector for power. And there is power. Okay, the next check is for the wiring harness ground. So with the test light in cavity C, the ground is moved to cavity H. It lights up, so there is a ground. The next test is for power to the DRL relay. With the test light grounded, probe cavity G6 to check the DRL fog lamp power circuit. It's okay. Now probe G4 to test the gauge's power circuit. It also has power. The next test has us replace the DRL module with the key off. Then turn the key back on and see if the DRL indicator lamp is illuminated, which it is. If it is, the DRL module is providing a ground for the indicator lamp and should be providing a ground to the DRL relay. To confirm, the diagnostic chart has us use a digital multimeter to check the voltage between B+ and the H6 relay cavity. Anything less than 10 volts indicates a problem with the wire or connections between the module and the relay. We're reading well over 10 volts, so that's okay. At this point, the power and ground for the relay check out. The problem could be a bad relay. By using a fused jumper wire between G6 and H4, the relay can be bypassed, but still no running lights. The next test is to go to either headlight and provide power to the low beam, the tan wire side of the light. A fused jumper is used to provide B+ power to the headlight connector for standard 2-lamp headlights, or back probe the lamp connector for the low beam on the quad headlights. Now we're getting somewhere. Low beam headlights, but not at the lower intensity, since the battery power is being jumpered to them. Somewhere between the DRL relay and the headlights, the tan wire, circuit 12, is open. There is a connector, C102, in the wire, so it will give us a place to open the circuit to help narrow down where the problem is located. We'll do that in a moment. First, I'd like to show you how we could have saved some time. Remember when I said that the fuses and normal headlight operation should be checked before using the diagnostic charts? The DRL relay has been reinstalled. When the headlights are turned on, there are no low beam headlights. With that information, we could have checked for power and grounds at the headlights. With no power, the problem would have been pinpointed to circuit 12. A lot of time can be wasted if the preliminary checks aren't done first. Which gets us back to connector C102. A check of the component location shows the connector is under the hood on the driver's side near the relay center. It's the main connector for the front of the truck. After locating and opening the connector, there are several ways we can proceed. With the low beams turned on, the dash side of the connector, cavity C, should have full B+ power. With the headlights turned off, cavity C should have power, although it may not be full battery power due to the voltage dropping diodes. With both the key and the headlight switch off, there should be no power at all. To check to see where the problem is located, connector C102 is opened up. And there is the problem. A connector backed out of its cavity. So check the connector lock, seat the connector, and make sure it is locked in place. Reconnect the C102 connector, and then check the repair by turning the key on. Daytime running lights. The headlights are now turned on low beams to make sure there are no other problems. All done. As you can see, the DRL is not that complicated. It's simply a relay that can provide power from either one of two different sources to the headlight low beams. One of the sources provides a lower voltage to limit the brightness of the headlights for daytime running lights. The other source, the headlight switch, provides full voltage for full brightness. The relay is controlled by a module. Its job is to detect situations when the relay shouldn't be activated. Those situations include the key not on, the parking brake applied, and the headlights on. If none of those situations exist, the module will activate the relay for daytime running lights. The daytime running lights, you might as well learn how to diagnose and service them the right way, because from this point on, you will be dealing with them. Thanks for your attention.